and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock. I'm Will Puckett.
And I'm Madison Pergram.
Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning, and thank you for sticking with these hot temperatures and continuing to tune into us every morning.
It's hard to stick with it when it's this hot.
It really is, and it just...
And I know a lot of people have it worse than us, but It's hot even when we go out to
I have a friend who lives in Tuscaloosa, and he said it was 99 yesterday. So it could be worse. Let's bring in meteorologist Kelly McShane this morning for a breakdown of what we should expect here in the mountains. Kelly, good morning.
99, 97, definitely I guess could be worse, but the 90s are the 90s overall, and we're going to see those 90s continue for at least the next couple of days until we get a little bit of a cool down. I'll have more on that here in a little bit, but overall, get you out the door this morning with those temperatures in the 60s and 70s for the most part. So it is another warm start to the day, a little cool for some folks in the valley regions, but overall, a generally warm start. Over towards Whitesburg, not looking at too much fog this morning and just a few cars out there, but overall it is still early in the morning, about 6:02, so it's just a very quiet start to the day, and that fog is still settling into Harlan and Bell counties and a little bit into Williamsburg, so just be very careful, especially in the valley regions over in those few counties. But overall, fog situation not a widespread issue, just still take it easy on the roads this morning, and I will have those details on the temperatures we will see for the rest of the week and heading into the weekend here in just a little bit, guys.
All righty, Kelly. Thank you, ma'am. Well, the clock is ticking for Governor Matt Bevin and his Democratic opponent Andy Beshear to shore up votes before next month's election. Governor Bevin touted his support from veterans yesterday. Veterans for Bevin held a news conference with the governor on Tuesday in Jefferson County. The group linked Bevin's own military service with what they call a pro-veteran agenda. The governor had a message for those who have served.
I have never met a person my age that regrets having served. I've never met a person who's regretted serving, but I've met many who wish they had. Many.
Meanwhile, Governor Bevin's opponent, Attorney General Andy Beshear, announced a new endorsement from the International Union of Painters, representing hundreds of artisans and workers in Western Kentucky.
And Governor Bevin also encouraged Kentucky students to participate and bring your Bible to school day. Bevin tweeted a video Tuesday along with a caption that read, in part, "The Judeo-Christian principles that are bound in this book are timeless, containing an amount of history, knowledge, wisdom, and guidance. Bring your Bible to school day is tomorrow."
Former House Speaker Jeff Hoover says he will not seek re-election in 2020. First elected to the House in 1996, Hoover took over as House Speaker following the 2016 election, but stepped down in early 2018 after it was revealed that he had a secret sexual harassment settlement with a former staffer. 3 other Republican lawmakers were also named in the agreement.
And the countdown is on for Kentucky air travelers to get their real ID. In less than 1 year, using a standard driver's license or an ID card will no longer be acceptable to fly domestically. After October 1st, 2020, U.S. citizens will need a real ID license or a passport to board domestic flights or enter military bases. Congress passed the Real ID Act into law in 2005 to improve national security. However, Kentucky is still working to make them available to residents. And Kentucky started a pilot program earlier this year to issue compliant license to certain counties. But the process was delayed after the state discovered issues that prevented the program from being adopted statewide. We do not know a new launch date to distribute real IDs at this time.
A proposed bill could add Kentucky to a long list of states that would no longer allow drivers to hold any electronic device while driving, the focus being cell phones.
Nick Oliver explains why some say this is a change the Bluegrass State needs.
In a world already full of distractions, the distractions that happen behind the wheel are some of the most dangerous. And just days after Jerry Elder, a truck driver from Michigan, killed one man while watching a video on his cell phone on I-64 in Frankfort, 2 Kentucky lawmakers have pre-filed a bill they hope will solve the problem with hands-free driving. The pre-filed bill by James Tipton and Steve Sheldon would ban drivers from using mobile phones, tablets, computers, and other communication devices while driving.
We live in a distracted society.
Lori Hawkins with AAA says possible new laws like this is something they watch closely And with 9 people dying every day because of distracted driving across the U.S., they hope something like this in a world surrounded by phones can give some peace.
2 seconds of distraction can actually double your chances of a crash.
20 other states already have hands-free laws, and while experts say this could be a good start for Kentucky, they say that start needs to happen a little bit earlier.
Passing laws that try to curb these behaviors is part of the answer, but also public education, educating people from the time that they're children.
In Lexington, Nick Oliver for the Fox 56 10 o'clock news.
First offense violators could be fined up to $100, and lawmakers also pointed to the state of Georgia, where they reported a decrease in traffic deaths after this law was passed.
A child has died after being mauled by 2 dogs in Louisville. It happened just after 9 o'clock Tuesday morning in the Newburgh neighborhood. Louisville Metro Police say 2 Rottweilers attacked the 3-year-old boy. Police say those dogs belong to the boy's family. The attack happened in the backyard of the home, but we do not know what led up to the mauling. The boy was pronounced dead at the scene.
And a sinkhole at the Louisville Zoo is already costing a lot of money, and it could end up costing much more. Here's a look at the sinkhole that opened up in March. Zoo leaders say they have already spent around $125,000 on fencing, engineering, and other expenses. The sinkhole also closed a train ride at the zoo, and moving that ride could cost $500,000.
A welcome center on I-75 is closing and being replaced. It's in Whitley County, about 1.5 miles away from the state line. The Transportation Cabinet says the current Welcome Center is often closed for repairs. The new facility is set to open next fall and will cost about $5 million to build. The old Welcome Center was built in 1971 and will close for the last time on Friday. There will still be parking and a few portable toilets for truck drivers during construction.
And crews spent much of the day Monday battling flames inside the Daniel Boone National Forest. These are some pictures they took, and crews say drones were used to keep firefighters safe. They also flew in a helicopter to perform airdrops on the fire. Crews were still out there on Tuesday fighting the fire. It is unclear how many acres have burned.
Well, check out this video that Justin Prater caught with a trail cam in Pike County. There you can see a bear in the daylight eating some corn he put out. Later that night, the bear returns. After struggling a while with the camera, the bear finally gets it down on the ground and tries to snack on it. You see it right here. Eventually, it figured out it was not food and went on its day. Justin said he thought someone tried to steal the camera until he went back to watch the footage.
It's a crazy story, Will.
Really crazy story.
Well, yesterday marked the first day of the fall forest fire season, and most eastern Kentucky counties were already under a 24/7 burn ban.
Forestry officials are worried what more dry and record-breaking heat could bring. WYMT's Katie Cook talked with them and brings us more.
There's no doubt it feels like summer, but the leaves are still starting to fall.
That brings in our 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. burn restrictions.
But these restrictions won't mean much to many counties who are already on 24-hour burn bans.
We've had 103 counties with a total burn ban.
With weather conditions hot and dry, officials are expected to have a busier than usual forest fire season.
We're only looking for it to get drier and busier as we start to see the leaves come off and more sunlight getting to the ground and really drying out those fuels.
And a busy season already, with 41 fires reported in September, that number higher than usual.
It's a little bit out of the normal. Normally October, mid-October is when we really start to get busy.
With temperatures still in the 90s, it also puts more strain on those who work to put out fires.
We've got guys out working these long hours and 90-degree heat. It's just a lot of stress on their bodies, make sure we keep hydrated, and sometimes you're going to take it a little slower than you would normally.
Officials say it's important to follow all burn bans in place, as one flame could lead to a dangerous fire. In Hazard, Katie Cook, WYMT Mountain News.
The Kentucky Division of Forestry has extra staff during forest fire season. Yesterday, there were 2 fires reported in Pike County.
It's a bit warm for most of us this morning. Let's go ahead and check on those temperatures again this morning. We're looking at 60s and 70s for the most part. A few folks in those valleys into the Cumberland Valley may be waking up into the upper 50s, lower 60s, so maybe a light jacket for you folks, but otherwise it is a warm start to the day for sure. Visibility is a little bit reduced because we did have those clear skies overnight, especially into Harlan and Bell counties and throughout the Cumberland Valley, but overall it's not a widespread issue, but just be sure to use those low beams and maybe give yourself about 5 extra minutes. Your forecast for today is looking very hot yet again. Temperatures expected to stay in the 90s, mid-90s this afternoon with plenty of sunshine and no rain chances in sight. I'll have details on our next cool down as well as our next rain chances here in just a little bit, guys.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning.
More news is on the way.
Coming up, as forest fire season begins here in the mountains, firefighters have already had to put out a wildfire at Sky Bridge in the Red River Gorge.